Hey, welcome back to the channel, everybody. I really hope you're doing well. So please go ahead and leave a like, subscribe if you haven't already. This is a wonderful way to help out the channel. But if you are looking to do a little more, go ahead and check out the link in the description for Buy Me a Coffee, where you can make a one-time donation or support my efforts here for $3 a month, as we are a viewer-funded channel and YouTube does not monetize us. We also upload Mondays, Tuesdays, and Thursdays. But with all that out of the way, let's see what we got today, guys. We are live.
The US government declassified instructions on how you can unlock hidden superpowers of your mind, and I'm going to go through that report to show you how. It's literally on the CIA's official website called the Gateway Process, and you can even see the report right here. Back in 1983, the CIA wanted to learn how to leave your body for military and intelligence gathering purposes, also known as Astral Projection. And according to this report, written by Colonel Wayne McDonnell, it's totally real and anyone can do it. They came out with the Gateway Process, a step-by-step system to leaving your body, and it was immediately classified up until 2003. It states that solid matter doesn't actually exist, and all of reality is just a sequence of vibrating energy patterns, each with their own unique frequency. Sounds a lot like string theory to me. Well, frequency is just a wave, like light, sound, and even our brain's activity emits waves. They discovered a process called hemisync that uses sound waves to synchronize both hemispheres of your brain, the left logical side and the right creative side, basically matching the frequency of a sound wave to the frequency of your brainwave. Then we can use this to convert energy to access new dimensions, escape reality, travel anywhere in space and time, and as the report puts it, click out of space-time and join infinity, even influence reality with our thoughts. Basically admitting that new age concepts like manifestation or the law of attraction are actually real. Sounds like utter nonsense, I know, but this is in the official CIA report, which they wanted to use to train psychic soldiers to gather intelligence and access new forms of information not available to us here. And this isn't some hippie voodoo mumbo jumbo shit either. Everything in this report is based on facts, psychology, math, and even quantum physics. This entire process is done by listening to sound through headphones, so anyone can do it. There's an entire field of science behind how different sound waves can physically affect your brain's chemistry, with certain sounds making you sleepy, awake, focused, give you anxiety, or make you relax. Some sound waves even being able to improve your memory and learning ability. The tapes containing the sound waves of the Gateway Process are available to the public, and you can even listen to most of them for free on YouTube. Note that it's not simply just a matter of listening to the tapes and boom, you're there. There's a bunch of foundational work like relaxation techniques, meditation, and you also need to be open-minded to the idea, or else your doubt will hold you back. Here's a brief snippet of what the Gateway Process sounds like, and note that headphones are necessary.
As you inhale, pull fresh new energy into all parts of your body and up into your head.
Now, what does this even mean? Like, what does joining infinity and clicking out of reality even mean? Okay, focus for a bit here. It's going to take a bit of brain power to fully understand this next part. According to this, there's an energy field beyond us that just exists called the Absolute, which our reality, the one you're in right now, sits on top of. Not easy to wrap your head around, but this Absolute is basically infinity, and between the Absolute and our reality are all the other different dimensions. And the Absolute is what created all dimensions, including our own, and it's also where our consciousness comes from when we're born, and what it goes back into after death, essentially confirming an afterlife, in which we all exist as one collective consciousness but yet retain our individual identity. There's even a page in this report that claims ancient mystics have understood this truth about the universe for thousands of years. Sounds pretty unbelievable, I know, but again, I'm just reciting to you what's in a government declassified report using nothing but math, science, and psychology. So are you gonna try it out just to see where this trip takes you, or is it just a bunch of nonsense?
I think we should look a little bit deeper.
Dreams carry messages. Dreaming is a low-powered astral projection. You are leaving the physical body, the conscious mind, into the subconscious realms of the astral imagination realm. Astral plane is the screen in your mind that allows you to imagine an apple. If you see Jesus in your dream, this is not Jesus. It is your belief materializing in the fourth dimension, the imagination realm. You know when you have them dreams when people are chasing you? This is a negative aspect of your mind which is materializing itself. All of the trauma, all of the negative events that have happened are stored within your subconscious, and these are materializing itself and showing it to you in your dreams. Everything in your dream is an aspect of your own mind, therefore it is showing you messages. If you cannot control your dreams, this is your subconscious controlling the dream. You can advance physically and get big muscles, and you can advance mentally, accessing other worlds beyond physicality. You can't control your dreams because you think it's just a dream, when it's not. It's actually a whole other reality. You are a multi-dimensional consciousness. You must remove the program of it's just a dream. Before you go to sleep, consciously think and feel and believe that you will control your dream. Throughout the day, you need to be doing reality checks by pinching yourself and saying, "Am I dreaming?" This will train your subconscious mind to say this while you are dreaming, and when you pinch yourself in your dream, you will become lucid. Once you are lucid, you can then go gain knowledge and do whatever you want in the realms of the mind. Whatever you do, never look into a mirror.
After this video, you guys will be astral projection ninjas. You want to lay down, but with your head slightly elevated. I used to lay down in my brother's recliner all the time to do this. It had the perfect elevation, but it pissed him off a lot. You're gonna do this from 15 to 30 minutes. The trick is to not move at all. About 15 to 30 minutes into it, you're gonna start getting little itches all over your body. It's very crucial that you ignore this. Those itches are your subconscious testing your body to see if you are awake. If you ignore those scratches, you will go into sleep paralysis. Don't panic, it's not a demon sitting on your chest. In sleep paralysis, you're gonna start to feel like you are only your head. This is a good sign because you are starting to connect your subconscious with your conscious. Do not try to clear your thoughts. That's impossible and it will make you go to sleep. You're going to want to focus on an area that you're trying to go to, a person you're trying to see, or a problem you want to solve. This part's gonna be pretty tricky because you're going to go in between visions and color. You're going to want to stick to the colors. They're going to bend and create shapes. Focus on the shapes and bend them to what you want to accomplish. Once you have total control over those shapes, you will start lucid dreaming. Now, lucid dreaming is not astral projection. Once you hit the lucid dream stage, you need to focus on your physical body. That's when you're going to want to pull with your chest as hard as possible and you will lift out of your body. You're going to be in the area that you fell asleep. Now, you may see shadow figures. Those are your attachments. Beat their ass and move forward. I know this video is a lot and I know I lost a lot of you, but you're an astral at this point.
This is Robert Monroe. He taught the CIA how to leave their bodies at will. If you've heard of the gateway process, that was him. What's crazy though is he was never really interested in spirituality until he was like 50-something years old. He was a broadcasting executive in New York, and his company was researching how to teach people to learn in their sleep. Robert was fascinated by that research, so he made himself the primary subject. They couldn't give the subjects medication to put them to sleep, so they used binaural beats. I think it was like the 25th night that Rob was doing this. His body began to vibrate so violently that he thought he was gonna die. Until he decided, okay, if it's gonna kill me, just let it kill me. It passed and he learned how to fall asleep afterward. One night, he was particularly excited because he was gonna go gliding the next day, and the vibrations came on. He let them pass, and then he noticed something was bumping his shoulder. It was his ceiling. He looked around and he saw that somebody was in bed with his wife, so he went to go look and it was his body. He went on to have thousands of those experiences, exploring space and meeting incredible beings. His books are incredible and he's just a super fascinating person. Follow and repost if you think I should do more about people like Bob. Thank you.
This is wild shit, man.
What is a gateway experience? So the gateway is Bob's method of introducing binaural frequencies to where, for instance, you have 100 hertz in one ear and 104 hertz in the other ear. You can hear them both, but you can't hear 4 hertz normally. It's below our audible level. But if you put two signals in your ears, right and left, that have a difference of 4 hertz, your brain then starts activating in a way to try to resolve that, and it turns on things because that's specifically right in the delta and theta transition area, and it can turn on experiences in your mind that would not normally be turned on in your consciousness. And so it gives you different experiences of consciousness. It was remote viewer number 1 for the Army Intelligence and CIA program that they put together. His evidence is irrefutable. Like, that's on government record that he did all this stuff and was able to go to other places from his living room in Virginia and then out an entire nuclear sub program for the Russian military, where he was the only one in the room who drew the sub with all these characteristics, and then it proved to be completely accurate. And he drew it from his living room in Virginia. That is remarkable. And Skip started floating up out of his body. Come around, gave him a tour, but put him in a radio shielded room with a pair of headphones on, started playing some tones in his ears, and Skip started floating up out of his body. So he thought that was pretty interesting. And so he put Monroe on a short list of places to investigate after he identified some folks who could possibly be good remote viewers. And so then he devised the idea that he said, okay, so we're looking for folks in the intelligence community. How do we find, who might be the psychics? And he looked for folks who were in their jobs longer than they should be. Because he thought, just as a common sense perspective, if these people are tuned into something extra, it's going to be the folks who are surviving longer in a shorter life expectancy job because they're making the right choices at the right times to stay alive. And it just so happened that Joe McMonigle, who was remote viewer number 1, he had spent 14 years in the field as an operative. And he was in a job that the life expectancy was 20 months, and he'd spent 14 years in that job.
This might be one of the crazier stories you'll hear today. This is a declassified document from the CIA thanks to the Freedom of Information Act. It is titled Mars Exploration, and this was in 1984. At that time, the CIA was very into remote viewing. This is Joe McGonigle, and he's one of the most famous remote viewers. If you don't know what remote viewing is, think 11 from Stranger Things. The things this man has done by sitting in a room, meditating, and literally sending his mind, his consciousness to other areas in the world, it's wild. Oh, and if you don't think he's credible, he was given the Legion of Merit by the US government, so yeah. But back to the document. The CIA put him in a room and they gave him an envelope. The only details he was given for the test was the date and time and coordinates. So what did he see? By the way, again, all declassified, you can go read this document, but he saw pyramids. Again, over here, he saw massive pyramids. He saw a people that were large and they were thin, but he described them as only a shadow, as if they're there but not there. He basically describes the people talking that they're trying to find their way out. Essentially, something was going on with Mars and the people were trying to escape. I'm trying to keep this as brief as possible, but again, it's fascinating because he was only given coordinates, and then the CIA afterwards was like, yeah, we sent you to Mars in the past. So is this factor cap? Now, it is important to note that what he saw was kind of like the popular idea for Mars in the 1980s, science fiction realm of what Mars would have been like. But he claims, and the CIA claims, that he was given no information besides the coordinates, so it's interesting that it took him to Mars. So what do you guys think?
I don't know.
How do we find who might be the psychics? And he looked for folks who were in their jobs longer than they should be, because he thought, just as a common sense perspective, if these people are tuned into something extra, it's going to be the folks who are surviving longer in a shorter life expectancy job because they're making the right choices at the right times to stay alive. And it just so happened that Joe McMonigle, who was remote viewer number 1, he had spent 14 years in the field as an operative, and he was in a job that the life expectancy was 20 months, and he'd spent 14 years in that job. They yanked him in and started interrogating him to ask him to see if he was a double agent and was getting fed information on the other side, and when they figured out he wasn't, they sent him to Stanford Research Institute for testing, where Hal Puthoff and Russell Targ were developing a program to try to test remote viewers, and they sent Joe McMonigle out there, and he tested off the charts.
Joe McMonigle on remote viewing targets.
The second target I did is a good example. They gave me a picture of a building, and they said, we're not going to tell you where this building is. Your charge here, the mission, A, find the building. Once you found it, countries, nobody cares. Find this building. Once you find the building, go to the, I can't remember, it was second or third floor. Pass through the wall. Go down the hallway. Find the bank vault door. Pass through the vault door into we'll call it a lab. Go to the northwest corner and there's a table, and on the table is an object. Push your face into the object, collect as much data as you can, wake yourself up, and draw it to detail in scale on a piece of paper. That was my mission. It took me 2.5 weeks of out-of-bodies just to find the building. And when I found the building, it took 3 or 4 out-of-bodies to get to the vault room. But I was finally able to pass through the vault door, which is an experience in itself. Passing through a vault door, you can actually feel it. It's like peeling your way through an onion with your molecular shape. I don't know how to explain that, but it's like you can feel every molecule as you pass through it. I don't think it's so much the material as it's the denial of access that does that to you. I can't explain it. But you get inside the room and you go to the northwest corner. I'm not sure I was at the northwest corner. I just went to wherever the table was. And there was an object about this size on the table, and I pushed my face into it, and I memorized it in detail. Tried to understand how the parts interworked with each other, that kind of thing. And then woke myself up, and I went in. I had a drafting table in my home, and I drew a detailed picture of it. And I rolled it up, put it in a tube, and mailed it to the people that had tasked me.
This is bizarre stuff.
That you do. I have a private practice as a psychologist, and I also teach remote viewing. Okay. Including the military remote viewers. There's still a debate going on whether remote viewing is real or not. I think anyone who does his homework will find out that there is ample evidence to support it.
So, under controlled conditions, we invited Dr. Carr to take part in an experiment. Right now, somewhere across town, is Lauren. I've asked her to choose a location and go there and not tell me anything about it. Once Lauren has arrived, she will be asked to call me so Dr. Carr can begin the lengthy process of filling out over 100 pages of information that he will receive during the remote viewing process.
Here we are. Here she is.
Lovely ringtone. Hello, is that Lauren?
Hello, yeah, I'm here.
Hello, it's Darren. So you've arrived at your location. Thank you, Lauren. Bye-bye.
Thank you.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
There you go. She's there. Over to you.
Neither Dr. Carr nor I have any idea where Lauren is, and now that she's arrived, Dr. Carr will attempt to see through her eyes and discover her location. To do this, he begins a process of filling out over 100 pages of information with drawings and words that he believes he's receiving from Lauren.
Arch, steps, temple, downstairs, garden, fence, chain, gazing, a circular sense of stones on top of each other, sense of looking
This
out.
leads to Dr. Carr entering her body in an act he calls blending.
I'm going to try to blend with Lauren a little bit right now. One of the ways I can do it, I can put Lauren in front of me, and I can step inside her body and describe what I see. I feel like I'm sitting, my legs are dangling a little bit. It's almost like I can see a boat, too, from where I am, too. I wanted to do that for a second. I may be way off.
So, after an hour and a half of writing hundreds of words and drawings and having entered Lauren's body, Dr. Carr has arrived at what he believes is a series of possible images of Lauren's location.
Okay. Wow. What a marathon.
So let's invite her back and find out where she's been.
Right, your time is up. You can now stop. You can now stop staring. Thank you very much for this. I'd like you to head back. Hello. Sit yourself down. Could you read to Lauren those final pages that was sort of felt like a summation? Well, also, I can just summarize. There seemed to be almost maybe a church-like or something that was relaxing about it there, and perhaps a garden nearby, or possibly, old brick stones, some kind of tower. Also, a sense of water or fountain or some kind of movement. Also, art. People could go inside. It was inviting. I think we're ready to see what it is. Let's have a look then.
It's actually a fountain.
Okay, so
and a
art.
sculpture, yeah.
Okay.
The horses of Helios.
Yeah, I'm not saying I totally nailed it.
I saw actually in one of your drawings there's like 4 objects.
So this might be my closest representation, even though it's very fuzzy. But the description is correct in our round sculpture, water.
Do you feel 50-50? Do you feel almost 100%?
I'd say it was over 50%.
Over 50%? As in where? But give it a percentage.
Maybe like 55-60, because I think some key information was picked out.
Mm-hmm. Thank you very much indeed.
Thank you very much.
Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you.
Maybe.
In May of 1984 at the Monroe Institute, I had been training with Bob for almost 14 months, learning to control my out-of-body experiences. It turns out you can do very specific things with out-of-bodies that you can't do with remote viewing. If you want to know how the trigger mechanism works on a Chinese nuclear weapon, out-of-body's better because you can go to the Chinese nuclear weapon and put your face in it, look around, do detailed drawing. But if you want to know where all the parts from the weapon came from, remote viewing's better because all the parts are intricately linked together. My training officer, Skip Atwater, would come in from the project and test me to see whether or not my remote viewing was getting any better. One of the training tests that he brought was a target that I didn't know anything about. Well, this particular week, he brought a Mars target. I didn't know it was a Mars target. He gave a sealed envelope to Bob Monroe, which inside had a card that said Mars 1 million years BC. He had a list of coordinates. And the first set of coordinates was 44.89 degrees, 9.55 degrees west. I didn't know anything about the target since I was laying in a dark black cube in the lab, floating on a sea of salt. And the first thing I heard was the coordinates. And this was my response. I got a great view of a pyramid form, sitting in a large depression. It's yellowish, ochre colored. I get clouds, a severe storm, major geological trauma. Then I was asked to visit the site before the trauma. They said, go back before the trauma. They said all the dirt had disappeared. There were now smooth walls. Everything was flat, megalithic. I said something about, gee, is this a new pyramid? Did they discover a new pyramid? Because it's really large. Shadow of people, fragments, memory of people. They said, go back to when they were there. Large people, thin and tall, wearing strange clothes, skin tight, very tight, almost can't see them. This is actually the depressed area. This is the pyramid. It's actually a double-layered pyramid. In a canyon looking up steep, high walls that go on forever. Very intricate, huge sections of smooth stone carved out. Getting very large structures. Rabbit warren of huge corridors and rooms. That's a canyon. And that's the pyramid. Now what's really interesting about this particular pyramid, you notice it's sitting on the side of the impact crater. And that's a real trick, because that means the pyramid had to be put there after the impact crater. Because if the impact crater hit after the pyramid was there, it would have destroyed the pyramid. The other interesting thing about this picture is you can measure the shadow of the crater, and based on the angle of the sun, you can estimate the size of the crater wall as being 3,000 meters tall. Now look at the shadow on the pyramid. Pretty tall pyramid. That's a 20,000 meter tall pyramid. Here's something else interesting. That pyramid's even closer to the edge. There's the road in, there's the road out. This is a general area. Pyramid's huge, but different this time. The reason these were different is because they were a cluster. These are like shelters from storms. Designed for sleeping, I specified hibernation, sleeping through savage storms. I'm asked to find out why. They're an ancient people trying to survive. It's past their time and age. They're waiting for the return of someone sent to find a new home. Their world passed through the tail of a comet. I had a sense that their atmosphere was stripped away or destabilized when it passed through the tail of the comet. This is an old fort. Now what's interesting about the old fort, this is actually a pyramid. That's one side, that's the other side, that's the other side. The tip is missing off the top and it's hollow. They call it the old fort. It's always referred to as the old fort. That's a grouping of pyramids. And that's a building, or what's left of a building on a sort of a plateau. And that's a drawing I did of the larger beings. What I think in actuality, there really are no such thing as Martians. What I think Martians are is us. I think we're descendants of the original inhabitants of Mars. And we're the ones that never went back.
Well, there's a lot to unpack with this one. You know, the concept of astral projection, lucid dreaming, remote viewing, this has always fascinated me. I've always known that people are capable of much more than we've ever been told. So, the thing is though, is every time I've tried to lucid dream, I just can't do it. I get to a point where I can start to see colors, and then I get excited, and I fuck it up somehow. I've tried it with the binaural beats. I tried this for months, years ago, and I just couldn't get anywhere with it. I would get to the point where I would get the itches, and I would get my body testing me. I could get past that point, but then, like I said, I would get excited, and I would just kind of snap myself out of it. So, not like it's easy to do. Same with meditation. You know, we've covered a lot of this stuff in previous episodes, sleep paralysis, things of that nature. So, yeah, I don't know. This stuff is wild to me, man. So, but I want to know what you guys think. So, or if you've been able to achieve this, please let me know. I'm really, like I said, fascinated by this topic. So, yeah. But that's all I got today, guys. I will be back tomorrow on 80 After Dark. So if you want to check me out there, the link is in the description for that channel. You guys have really been liking it too. Thank you so much for tuning into that. Last episode is already at 3,000 views. So pretty awesome, guys. So yeah, I'll be back tomorrow for there, and Friday as well. And I'll be back here on Thursday with another one. So until then, 80 Canadian. Signing off.